All right, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and love to the subscribers and gratitude to anybody new locked in. Excuse my hat and attire. I know it looks like I'm about to go fishing for a few weeks, but it's really freezing here in New York, and these heaters are from like the 1920s, so they're very temperamental. So I've got to keep myself warm. Like I said, I hope you guys are well. Let's talk about this potential fight. ARTUR BETERBIEV versus Dmirty Bivol. Wow, what a cracker. What an amazing fight. That could be, you know, one for the ages, really, as the thumbnail states. I mean, stylistically, and just where they're at in their career, how good they are, what sort of an event it could be. It's just magnificent. It could be an amazing fight because BETERBIEV makes people fight. I know Bivol tends to neutralize his opponents and, you know, just completely outbox them, uses superior speed, footwork, IQ, lead hand, and make things look very easy. But at some point in that fight, he's going to get challenged quite a lot and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens when he does. Now, this fight has not been made yet. It's quite important to know. Obviously, there was a lot of doubts on it, thanks to Mauricio Suleiman, who, now the fight's happening in the Saudis, you know, I can only imagine that he'll just get some sort of backhand to shut his mouth and move on. And that's how easy it is to, you know, basically sway somebody's decision, whether they, because he has got control over the fight, let's be honest. He's the WBC president, and BETERBIEV is the WBC champ along with the IBF and WBO. But that fight should and probably will take place in Saudi, hopefully by the middle, maybe the summer or the end of the year. Wow, we're gonna have an amazing year this year. This year of boxing is gonna be absolutely amazing, I promise you. And I don't often say that, and I actually made a prediction last year was going to be great. Let me take the promise back because it's out of my control, but I am pretty sure, because when I promise, I really mean it. And I'm going to get onto promising a video that I talked about a couple of months ago about the Dmirty Bivol, which was, so stick around for that. But this fight is going to happen, I think. I'm pretty sure. But, you know, supposedly Dmirty Bivol signed for that. BETERBIEV made a bit of a joke about it, saying, has he signed for it when, you know, there's not even a contract or something like that. But it looks good. It does look good. And it's just a magnificent fight. Let's talk about it stylistically, right? Because a lot of people were thinking BETERBIEV was getting a bit old, you know, after the Yard fight. Not me. I was like, no, I don't think so. I think Yard is just fresh, athletic, you know, powerful, younger, and he could probably do that to just about anybody. And BETERBIEV is just getting smarter, you know, and coming off the back of a dominating performance against Callum Smith, where he said, you know, but BETERBIEV said that Smith, they prepared well and they gave him a good fight. And I compared it to a one-sided competitive fight. Not saying it was competitive, but that was a saying that HBO had back in the day. And I had to think about that. I was like, was it really? But patches of it were. Just because Callum Smith was fighting a little bit, he definitely could have won round 2 and had a couple of little moments, but nothing crazy. So maybe it wasn't. But at the end of the day, BETERBIEV dominated and put in a great performance, and you know, he just gets older and better as with age, excuse me. And I saw another story from that John Scully guy who was on the Pro Box a couple of days ago, and he was saying that after the Joe Smith fight, BETERBIEV was in the gym on Monday doing these crazy like with the sledgehammer routines and stuff on Monday, 2 days after he just beat Joe Smith Jr. This is how insanely disciplined this guy is, and just how hardcore he is. And I watched the Gvozdyk fight earlier today, because Gvozdyk, in reality, outside of him getting dropped and hurt by Callum Johnson, Gvozdyk had the most success. Definitely took him the farthest. I think they got stopped in round 11, and he had a lot of success early on from moving and outboxing. Well, who does that better than anybody in the world, basically? You know, in and out, jab, lead hand control, discipline, stoicness too. I will talk about that because, well, Dmirty Bivol is the answer. He's like a super version of Gvozdyk. So I personally would be picking Dmirty Bivol, and I'll explain why. I think, like, obviously, look, his footwork is exceptional. and it's so fast and it's so well trained, and that's the documentary I'm actually currently making that I spoke about. I'll just touch on that really quickly because I promised I would do it before the Christmas period, before the new year, and I meant it. And when I promise something, I mean it. But after I did that, I just had four gigs in a row come at me. I got asked to work all these events, and I was like, oh man, I put 2 days away to do that documentary. Long story short, the documentary is about how he has developed his ability to be defensively responsible, to shift his feet so quickly whilst punching, and it's called The Art of Perfection. But it's how he's drilled it over years, and how it's his stoicness and stoicism that has just take him to the gym. Same with Beterbiev, same with a lot of those Eastern European fighters. They just go, they don't complain, and they get better and better, and they do it for their whole life. And that's one of the reasons, or many reasons, why I'm picking Bivol, is because of his footwork, his foot speed, his IQ, his discipline to not get sucked in and not stay on the ropes. And that's the one thing you can't do against Beterbiev, is get on the ropes. How big the ring is going to be will be important, but Bivol is one of the most disciplined fighters. Like, you know, Beterbiev's disciplined with his work ethic, of course he is. And, you know, look, but discipline, when I talk about Bivol in terms of boxing, okay, hit and not get hit. Beterbiev just wants to come in there and maul you, and he's willing to take a couple shots, you know, but you have to, because he's just constantly trying to press you. But Bivol he's got an amazing jab, okay, and I think straight punches too for Beterbiev are some shots that Gvozdyk was catching him with, you know, especially that 1-2-1, which is that Eastern European, or it's a 1-2 swivel jab in America, but that's a beautiful shot. There's the straight shots. If you notice Callum Smith, when he was shooting, he was trying to load up on these right hooks and left hooks, and Beterbiev was blocking a lot of them. Straight down the pipe, there's some activity to be had there. But another thing that I think will be a factor in this fight is when Beterbiev, that he'll like level change to come in and make his attack, right, his first phase of attack essentially, and he was doing it with ease with Callum Smith. Callum Smith could not even stop him from doing it. He didn't even notice when the level changes were coming. He'll do this kind of awkward feint, and he'll half skip into the danger zone. I think Bivol's going to be able to see that, because he's so focused, and his concentration as well. Concentration, discipline, foot speed, hand speed, IQ, stoicism. These are the things Bivol's going to be able to do. When I say stoicism, basically it's a really fascinating, it's a philosophy. I've been getting into it lately. I've been really reading a lot about it and trying to implement it in my own life. But basically, it's just, you know, if you're suffering, or if you're having a hard time, or you just don't complain. You just get on with stuff. It's way deeper than that, but it's an old Greek philosophy, and the Romans picked it up as well. Marcus Aurelius from the Gladiator. That's obviously a real life commander, a leader, and he was, you know, big on stoicism too. A lot of men back then were. But it really is good for your life, if you know, not to get too philosophical on you, but I would recommend doing it, because it's helping me a lot. Not that I needed help, but it's really bringing out the best of me, you know. I don't complain about anything anymore. Well, I used to complain quite a lot back in the day, but look, that's another subject. Basically, there was a fight against Sullivan Barrera, right? Dmitry Bivol. He got a massive lump on his head, and he was actually in a bit of distress, you know, but he withheld that and was able to see through adversity like nothing was happening, you know. He had this real cold look on his face, and he knew what he had to do, and it didn't change anything, and he saw the fight through and won. I think he might have even stopped Barrera later. I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't a stoppage, but where I'm going with this is, when the waters get choppy, like they did for Gvozdyk, right? His body language started to falter a little bit, and you know, he really, like, you know, the fight was getting to him, as you would imagine. Beterbiev was just punishing him a little bit. He was a straight right hand to the body is a brutal shot, and he actually hurt him with a jab to the body. Gvozdyk, Beterbiev hurt Gvozdyk with like multiple shots. But even before that, Andre Ward was picking up on the body language of Gvozdyk. I don't think Beterbiev is going to be able to get that out of Bivol. I think Bivol is tough. I think he's way tougher than we realise because he hasn't really needed to go there. He got hurt against Joe Smith Jr., fair enough. But if you look how he just took that shot, yeah, he was hurt, but got back to the corner and handled his business. Got back out and fought again. And I'm like, wow, this guy is way tougher than we realise, I think. And that's going to be a big difference as well. When the tide gets a little choppy, and the waters and the storm gets a little high, you know, Bivol will be all right, I think, because he's disciplined. He can fall back on his boxing. He's got to stay off the ropes, which I think he will. He was on the ropes a couple of times against Canelo, but it worked in his favour. He was countering off the ropes. I don't think he should do that. I don't think he should do that, or I think he should just keep it moving. And being the most disciplined fighter in the sport, or one of, I think he probably will. Let me know your thoughts on this fight and how you think it will go. And, you know, obviously, look, I'm not giving, not ruling out Beterbiev for like some kind of stoppage, but I would say Bivol on points, majority decision probably. I think he'll do like really well, especially early, and he'll probably get caught up in some sticky situations here and there. But because, like I mentioned, his stoicism and his discipline will see him through. So hopefully we get an announcement from that fight soon. Let me know your thoughts. Peace and love. I'm out.